Welcome to Starkey Sound Bites. I'm Dave Fabry, your host and Starkey's Chief Hearing Health Officer. Here at Starkey, we recently introduced our most advanced hearing technology yet, Omega AI. It sets a new standard in the use of deep neural networks in hearing aids by introducing our industry's first DNN-controlled directional microphone system. And we're going to get into the details of that, but it's called DNN 360. My guest today is the person leading our engineering efforts here as CTO, Chief Technology Officer, Dr. Achin Bhowmik. Welcome back, Achin, to the podcast.
It's so great to sit down with you again.
So always one of my most favorite times is having you on here to go deep into deep neural networks and the way it is that we've been innovating in this space. And you come by this with spectacular credentials. Prior to joining Starkey in 2017, you were at Intel, and we'll go into a little bit of your background for those who are unfamiliar with you, but you headed the perceptual computing division there and brought a wealth of information in terms of vision and also integrating that into communication. You are also currently an adjunct professor at Stanford University in the School of Medicine and then also in the Human-Centered AI Institute.
That's
so.
Right.
You're all AI all the time, except I think that we've been able, in the 8 years now that you've been with Starkey, to convert you into that audio world to gain a greater appreciation of the Helen Keller dilemma, where when she talked about having both a profound visual loss and hearing loss, that vision connector to the beauty of things, hearing connects us to each other. And that's why we're really pleased to have you on board.
Thank you, Dave. And it's 8 years. Wow, time goes by so quick.
When you're having fun.
To me, it feels like just the other day.
Well, and it goes back to find your passion, and the time will pass, and you'll work really hard working on some things, and we've got a lot to talk about today.
Right.
But the time goes by quickly when you're enjoying what you're doing and when you're making an impact in the world.
Thank you. So about the background, you mentioned coming from Intel to Starkey. So I like to tell people that I'm a student of computational perception. So for engineers like us, we like to spend a lot of time with neuroscientists because the dream and hope we have is that we get a good sense of how we humans sense and understand the world, with an expressive purpose in my past life to help robots and computers sense and understand and interact with us like we humans do. So I like to say I changed my field, but not the technology.
Right.
The technologies are the same, artificial intelligence, to mimic the ways that our brain does sensory processing. But instead of applying those to the robots so they can sense and navigate the world, I get to work with you and others here in helping humans sense, understand, and communicate with each other better. It's just a wholly different and more satisfying playing field in terms of its applications, but the technology is similar. It's artificial intelligence.
Yes, and it's converging even more as we go. I like to say, only half kiddingly, that I'm slowly becoming a cyborg, given that I'm replacing parts and trying to work on increasing my mind even at my advanced age.
So you're bringing the two subjects of my passion together.
Yeah.
It used to be robots and humans, but with you, I get to work with both at the same time.
Indeed. And you talk about really that focus on Intel, and then you're continuing your work with us, and also in the Bay Area, the connections that you've made with regards to many of the world's greatest companies. And I think one of the things that you brought when you joined Starkey was this spirit of collaboration rather than this, I'll say, in our industry, we've been rather provincial, feeling like we need to develop everything in our space. And I think you've really broadened that vision, that view, that we can look to other companies.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. In fact, the importance of that is now more than ever before. Because just look at what's happening with AI. I was just explaining the other day that 2024, there was nearly $500 billion of investment in AI infrastructure by the largest tech companies, mostly in Silicon Valley. This year, there'll be many more times of that. In fact, just a single project, Stargate, is $500 billion investment by itself. So these massive investments that are going on, good reason behind it, all of the excitements around AI is all real and here. If you look at, AI has been called the biggest revolution since Industrial Revolution. It's been called the new electricity. Well, the reason for that is it's touching on many, many ways that we live our lives and enhance our lives with this technology. Industrial revolution, the reason it was exciting and it changed the world because it enhanced, it augmented, amplified our physical abilities, our muscle power. Artificial intelligence revolution is augmenting and amplifying our brain power, our cognitive abilities. So we are at the right time now to bring a technology like that to enable hearing devices to help people hear better, which is our core job, help them live better and be healthier, which is part of our core mission as well as a company. At the same time, transform your hearing aids into your personal assistant that allows you to have interaction with the most powerful AI agents in the cloud to help you with everything in your life.
Yes. And that really, for me, represented one of the strongest pulls for me to come off of what I refer to as my sabbatical.
It's great that
and
you did
join
that.
you and your team, because you really started looking at this in a far bolder, in Brandon's leadership and hiring you, and then saying we want to go in this direction to transform hearing aids was, there was a sea of sameness out there. Yeah. And this was looking at it from a different lens in a direction that, like I said, it's hard to believe that it's been 7 years since I joined up with you. And I want to talk a little bit on that journey in terms of where we've been, where we are, and then where we're going.
Yeah, so, well, maybe I'll spill a little secret for your audience. I'm not sure I shared this with everyone, but even before I joined, I remember the fireside chats with Brandon, with Mr. Austin, about the vision Mr. Austin had for decades on the devices, the hearing devices, not only helping people hear better, helping them live better, being their personal assistant. And we created that strategy back then in 2017 that we continue to show our employees, our customers, that really we have 3 pillars.
Yes.
Intelligent hearing, so amplify the sound you want to hear and suppress the cacophony that you don't want to. Intelligent hearing, job number 1.
Job 1.
Number 2, what's a better device than the one that is in your ear to help you live better? Should track your health, detect if you fell, and in fact, today we'll talk about, can we prevent people from falling? And number 3, with large language models and ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, nobody is now questioning the value of human-like communication with an AI engine. What's a better device to serve as the conduit to the world of LLMs and AI than an invisible device? I often, I show up to people and say, did you realize I'm wearing my devices? And they have no clue. They say, get out of here. In fact, every time that I pull out these devices, they're magical. People go, wow, I didn't know you were wearing them, right? So what's a better device to serve as the conduit to the world of information than one that is invisible and always with you, always in your ear? Bi-directional communication. It talks to me and I can talk to it. So we are on a major disruption, out with the stigma and in with the devices that you want to wear and I want to wear.
Yeah, and I can tell you that since 2018, when we first started fitting Livio AI, our first generation of devices that we really put AI at the center of this, patients started to say, okay, like you said, better hearing is always job 1, then the health and wellness aspect, and the beginnings of the intelligent assistant are making, as Brandon has said, you're making hearing aids cool, and turning them from a device that in the past they felt like they had to wear until something now that they want to have. And that's what's really been fun, is I'm seeing that stigma just drop in the generation, my generation of baby boomers, who are now becoming the biggest users of amplification. We know it can strike, hearing loss can occur at any age, but baby boomers are now sort of the target group. We are far less stigmatized, but we have higher expectations for what hearing aids can do.
And what stigma? You have Damon John going with his red hearing aids that you fitted him with. He's showing it off in public forums proudly, saying, this is my superpower, right? Superhuman hearing? Well, we'll talk about this. You mentioned Livio. The biggest jump we made from that generation of products, Livio, Evolve, to then Genesis and Edge AI, is the industry first fully integrated deep neural network hardware accelerator on board the processor of the hearing aid for an ultra-fast extremely low latency, deep neural network in the main audio path. And today we'll talk about what we've accomplished with Omega AI when edge AI devices are just doing so well. They are the best products that we have ever produced. And I'll be excited to share with the audience why we are unleashing and what we are unleashing with Omega AI.
Well, I think you raised an important point. Edge AI is already the industry's best product.
They're the best products.
And now we're already following right behind with Omega AI because complacency is the enemy. We know that this is a space race.
Yeah, not just that. When I was presenting to our team, I said, well, there was some doubts and questions about can we really do better than edge AI devices? They're already 13 decibel signal to noise ratio for speech in diffuse noise. The 51 hours of battery life. There is just all these amazing attributes of the product. It's waterproof. We said, hold our beer. So I'm really excited to share about Omega AI.
Well, let's kick it off. Let's start a little bit with the overarching strategy that you have taken since you've joined Starkey in 2017 and thinking about the approach. If you can just share a little bit of the overarching approach that led you from where we were to where we are and where we're going.
Great. Yeah, I'll be happy to do that. So let's start with the brain. I learned from you and many in the field, we do not only hear with our ear, we hear with our brain. Well, so much focus in the hearing aid industry has been historically on compensating for what you lost in our ear. Well, we established the audibility threshold through audiograms. We provide the right amount of amplification as a function of frequency. But there is a lot more to hearing than sensing with the ear. How about the neural atrophy that results from not hearing well for years and decades? Brain loses the amazing ability to understand conversations in noise. And it is not just about understanding speech for the person that's sitting right in front of you. It's about spatial awareness.
Yeah, people take for granted, for those with normal hearing, when you have normal hearing and you're young, you go into a crowded restaurant and we're engaged in a conversation. And if someone starts engaging in some tantalizing talk over here, I don't even need to turn my head, but I can
pay attention to it
and pay attention to it and be aware of that spatial surrounding. But for many years, hearing aids cut people off from that environment because you had to choose between omnidirectional or directional, and we weren't responsive to that.
So I'd like to explain this DNN 360 that we're unleashing with Omega AI to your audience. DNN 360, it's an amazing name because hearing needs to be 360. Of course, I need to hear the person in front of me in noisy environment as good as I can, which is why we have industry-leading 13 decibels of SNR improvement for speech in diffuse noise. However, with deep neural network-based directionality and deep neural network-based spatial awareness technology, we have now created a system that's dynamic. It analyzes the acoustic environments, user intent, and sensor data, and it seamlessly and instantly allows me not only to listen to people in front of me, but also be spatially aware of somebody might be calling my name, or there might be a sound. I might be taking a walk in the road, and I want to be aware of the bikes passing by, the cars around, to be safe. And then I come back to my study room, and I'm quiet now. Throughout this DNN 360 system uses a trained deep neural network to process the sound in 360 like the human brain does. Let me compare that with the traditional way that directional microphone and directionality works. This has been the mainstay for the industry on directionality. Well, you have, to simplify this, the technique that we and many others have used is if this, then that. The old ways of computing saying, I'm going to analyze the acoustic environment. If it satisfies this condition, turn it into omnidirectional mode. If this satisfies the other condition, then turn it into a directional mode. The challenge with that is how many conditions can you program with if this, then that, a finite number of them. And then out in the wild, in natural life, regular day-to-day interactions, you will have millions of permutations, combinations of acoustic environments. And also to manually, not manually, but if this, then that style of switching from one environment to another is time consuming. By the time you move from one to another, you already have changes in the acoustic environment. So how does brain so fluidly allow us to healthy sensory system, let's have good hearing and a healthy brain, how do we have 360 awareness? It's because of brain's neural network that's allowing me to not only pay attention to you, be aware of what's going on around me. So DNN 360 is our attempt to mimic and copy the work of the brain, which is essentially a deep neural network, with a trained deep neural network that's fully integrated on board the Omega AI's G3 neuroprocessor, or generation 3 of the neuroprocessor, and the results are stunning. Our patients, as you have interviewed many of them, are saying, wow, for the first time, even if I was using edge AI devices before, now not only I can hear better in noisy environment when I'm paying attention to a person in front of me, I do not lose the cues, auditory cues that are so important to me. Somebody calls me from my side, my behind, and the cars and environmental sounds, I'm aware of all of that. I'm just hearing better, effortlessly. That's because of the DNN 360 technology.
Yeah, and we take that for granted with normal hearing or nearly normal hearing, but that gets lost as we get more peripheral hearing loss and as we age, and being able to tap into the biggest deep neural network, biggest processor,
yes,
with the assistance of what we have on board, the Omega AI. Really, you touch on a number of good points there. Like for me, the integration of not only the microphones as sensors, the way that directionality has been incorporated by a rule-based system, if this, then that, but now starting to think about the inertial measurement units that we've had in hearing aids since 2018. Now you start thinking about integrating whether the person is moving, whether someone else is moving with them, how the environment around you is changing. Right. And that's what rather than being limited by the relatively a few number of if this, then that's, you open up to
it's millions of variations.
Doing it, all of these variations, and being able to find for the individual what types of variations.
And fundamentally, that is the breakthrough that we get with AI in any field.
Yes.
You cannot possibly program infinite number of permutations and combinations in the natural world. Things much acoustic environment, every second is unique and different. And only way to follow that fluidly, dynamically, and in real time is a good, well-trained neural network with low latency. That's the important part. I keep saying, this is not about slapping an AI processor with the main hearing aid processor and then offloading computation to it and bringing it back. Because then what will happen, you lose the precious real-time temporal cues.
Yes, and given that now the majority of hearing aids fitted in the US and around the world are fitted in 2 ears, you're not wearing a monocle if you have a visual loss, you're not wearing one hearing aid anymore, because those timing cues, not only for the processing delay in one ear, but the processing delay between the ears really help with that spatial cue.
You know, Bill, Mr. Austin likes to explain the effect this technology is having on his patients. Yes. Is that, look, you can think of sound as three-dimensional, with its three-dimensional characteristics. There is the frequency axis, there is the loudness axis, but there is also the temporal axis. Yes. So if you don't have a real-time computation system, but one that offloads and brings it back and you lose the real-time temporal cues, you're not going to create a high-fidelity model of the acoustic world around you. You'll not have the hope of copying and mimicking how a healthy human auditory system perceives the world of sound. You know, at the end of the day, I think our generation's biggest opportunity to bring about the revolution in hearing is to help the patient who lost some of those amazing biological neural network processing capabilities in the brain by having some of those copied through the hearing aids, which is what we're doing with Omega AI and DNN 360.
And time after time, patients are telling me this is an immersive technology. It's enabling them to not feel separate from the group that they're in, but being immersed in it because of both the spatial awareness and the performance in terms of the astounding benefits for signal-to-noise advantage. So that's the intelligent hearing aspect. That's just one way that we're using AI. Yep. How about, you talked a little bit about the way, you know, people think of hearing loss as occurring in a vacuum, and we know it doesn't. We know and have known for a long time the relationship between cardiovascular disease and hearing loss. Many cardiologists will say the ear in an aging individual is one of the best barometers of cardiovascular health because of the minute vascular supply that goes to the ears. And so they look at it as an early warning detector. So cardiovascular, we know. Cognition, we know more recently from the work that's been done actually linking untreated hearing loss and cognitive decline, along with loneliness, isolation, depression. But importantly, and you highlighted already, the fall feature, fall detection feature that we began with back in 2019. Talk a little bit about AI and health and wellness.
Yes. So, we've been on a relentless journey since 2017 on transforming hearing aids into your own health device. We say it's communications and health device. Health device is one that keeps you healthy. It makes you be aware of your conditions. So on the journey on fall and balance, back in 2018, 2019, we brought fall detection technology in the market. We're so proud that these devices now are the world's most accurate fall detection devices. And in fact, the only hearing aids that can do fall detection. But we didn't stop there. Our vision is to help prevent falls. So the second step in the journey was helping people assess their own balance and their fall risks. So we unleashed that product technology with Edge AI devices.
Yes. And so for those unfamiliar with that or who haven't worked with this, the CDC developed a series of measures that are typically done in a clinical environment that are designed to assess whether someone has a balance, strength, or gait weakness, among other things. We incorporated a series of questions, and then as well, we hypothesized in the collaboration with Stanford that we could provide comparable results using the inertial measurement unit and
embedded
the
in
app,
the hearing aid.
embedded in the hearing aids on both sides, and then also incorporating the app to provide instructions, even video support for how to do the exercises. But we wanted to take this in
one step further.
One step at a time to say, okay, initially do the results with their automated scoring using the inertial measurement unit, the embedded sensors in the devices, and the app. Are they comparable to how a human would judge gait, strength, or balance?
Right.
And it was.
And the results were great.
The results were impressive. We published an article.
Along with Stanford
Yes.
and otology and neurology that the AI system in the hearing aids ability to help people assess their own balance and fall risks are comparable, agreeable to the balanced neurologist's assessments. That was a great step. But with Omega AI, now we are helping our patients improve their balance with a hope to reduce the risk of their falling. So we have balance builder technology.
Talk a little bit about that.
And here, we know, it's known in the field in balanced neurology. Once you have risk of falling, your vestibular sensing system and many other physiological capabilities, when they degrade and your risk of falling goes up, you could train yourself and train your vestibular systems through balance exercises to reduce the risk of falling. Well, now how do we guide our patients to do that? So we already have inertial measurement units. We have capabilities of tracking those with machine learning capabilities, and we have the app. So with this new feature, the patients are able to train themselves to improve their balance. And so this will reduce their risk of falling. So along this journey of helping people prevent falls, we're taking a giant step now with Omega AI.
Yeah, so not only thinking about health and wellness with hearing aids as a gimmick. We're not thinking about a gimmick. We've talked about for a while.
It's about life-saving.
It's life-saving in the sense that starting with a fall alert and notification system, but then using the CDC's STEADY protocol, Stopping Elderly Accidents, Deaths, and Injury protocol, to identify balance, gait, or strength weakness.
Right.
And then use the balance builder exercises. Once you've identified, okay, I have a balance issue, I can go specifically to exercises that will help me strengthen and reduce that deficiency with the long-term goal
of reducing your risk.
That
and in
risk.
fact, they can then use our fall risk assessment feature to see if they have made improvement.
Exactly.
Right? So I should also mention, in the relentless journey towards transforming the hearing aid into a health device, for the first time, Omega AI devices can also monitor and measure your respiration rate. That's one of the 4 vitals that is critical for older patients particularly. When you're young and energetic, you don't care so much, but being able to know your breathing rate and are you in the normal range between 12 and 20 is very important for many people who are concerned about their health. So we are really happy that now just the technology that's built into the hearing aids, they're able to measure and monitor their respiration rate.
So, okay, so that's AI covering intelligent hearing, covering the health and wellness.
Yep.
Now, go to one
Personal
that's
assistant?
really exciting, the personal assistant.
So I'll tell you, in 2017, when we were talking about hearing aids becoming personal assistant, may have sounded like a gimmick. It's a Silicon Valley talk, or maybe Mr. Austin's dream that it would probably not come true. But hey, again, hold the beer, right? Today, you are not getting any skeptical responses when you say, I want to communicate with an intelligent system sitting in the cloud. So what changed? Well, for the first time, after many, many decades of technology development, dreaming, hoping, finally, the era of natural language communication, the way that you and I talk to each other. Finally, we can talk to a system in the cloud, the AI system like that, natural human language communication. And this is possible because of the generative AI technology. At the heart of it is a breakthrough neural network, a deep neural network architecture, specifically transformer neural network technology, that's now enabling the system to effortlessly and seamlessly understand what we say, communicate back to us. So of course we are, as the leading innovative company in the hearing aid industry, we want to totally utilize the technology to realize the third leg of that vision, where the hearing aid is your personal assistant. So let me tell you, audience, 3 features that we have with Omega AI. First, an enhanced smart assistant. You could just have a conversation with it. You could say, hey, change the volume of my hearing aids. Or remind me at 5 p.m. I need to pick up my daughter from school. Or maybe one of your older patients would say, at 10 p.m. I need to take Lipitor because I forget all the time. Please remind me. Or you might say, what's the weather outside? Do I need to take my umbrella? These are specific technologies. One that is tied to the device itself, that ChatGPT will have no clue.
Right.
Or try asking Siri to change the volume of a hearing aid. It will say, here's the website link for it, right? So Starkey developed its own technology layer that classifies these questions. If it is something about controlling the device, we execute that instantly. If it's about a real-time information, and again, Gemini or ChatGPT will have no clue because they have been trained 6 months ago. So they will not know what the temperature is right now. So, but we have the right technology with application programming interface to tap into to tell you the real-time information, to help set reminders. Third, when you want to have a conversation, I am thinking of going to Europe. Should I go to Spain or should I go to UK? What's happening at this time of the year? Or any philosophical conversation that you might want to have. You have an issue, you have a little discomfort, you want to consult with an AI system that has been trained with all of the world's information, you can simply do that. And guess what? The best way to interface with the most powerful AI is not to take out your phone and talk to it.
Or type in.
Yep, yeah. But just talk to it. Because our devices, they have microphones, they have speakers, they're connected with the cloud, and they have the conduit with the built-in intelligence layer that knows what sort of question that I'm asking. Is it a device control or is it a conversation with something else?
And amplifying the responses so that I
can hear better.
It. Yes.
Yes. So that is, of course,
Still tying back to our central point.
Right. Yeah. And I should highlight, now the Omega AI device, how it stands out from edge AI devices. When I'm interacting with the AI with personal assistant, it is using the microphones on the hearing aids themselves, so you don't have to talk to the phone. Next, we are, for the first time with Omega AI devices, we now have the ability for the patient to have a conversation with the hearing aid to tailor and optimize the fitting experience, the hearing aid experience.
Please go on.
So let's say you went to the best audiologist in the world, who's you, and I have been fitted, and I go home. But I've driven 20 miles back to my home. After a day or two, I realize I'm happy with my fitting and the hearing aid experience, except perhaps that water faucet is annoying, or when somebody slams the door, it bothers me. Or maybe I'm finding, when I rub my hand on my pant, perhaps that is a little bothersome. So I might just simply explain to my devices, utilizing this new technology, We're calling it TeleHear AI. And the device then is going to utilize generative AI technology to understand my complaints and then automatically think of improvements to that. And then it might offer me tweaks to my fitting and say, do you like this? If you do, keep it. If not, you can always go back.
Right, and just importantly, this is not designed to replace the role of the professional. As you said, sometimes there may be a minor tweak that the patient might want to optimize the devices. And rather than using our synchronous or asynchronous telehealth, if I'm not available, it's a weekend, whatever, it enables the patient to do a synchronous adjustment using their voice, explaining what they're having difficulty in the moment, at the moment that they're having that difficulty. I mean, you've got guardrails around this. We're not going to allow them to go in harm's way. But we can actually optimize something that a patient might otherwise live with until they come back to see you a month later. It might be too late.
And then the last one along this line is we haven't forgotten the clinician in respect to how they can benefit from the power of generative AI. In Profit software going with Omega AI, we now have a generative AI-powered AI assist that allows them to do away with the old ways of asking for help inside the software, but now communicate with the fitting software in a natural language.
It's a phenomenal
allowing
feature.
for them to just find answers to any questions that they have.
Especially for those who aren't aren't really familiar with our software. It's a great training wheel application to get help on the fly, just with natural language.
So I know we are probably tight on time, but I need to mention two more things.
Please.
One is the new acoustic model optimizer. That's enabled by
circle back around.
Amazing AI technology now we have. We already had acoustic model optimizer that provides you best fit. In fact, our best fit is the industry's best fit already. But now, utilizing AI technology and millions of ear scans that we have, allows us to more personalization of the acoustic model, utilizing the signal that we use, stimulus that we use for feedback counselor initialization. But now the optimization for patient's ear, evaluation of the geometry of the ear, and the acoustic coupling is a lot more accurate. So the best fit is a lot more accurate than we have ever been able to achieve.
Yes, and there's a lot. I know we're so compressed on time, but that's a really important, the acoustic matching of the device to the individual patient's ear. If all we did was fit KEMAR, it would be easy because we'd be going according to a predicted model. But now based on the venting, the depth, the microphone location, how the entire acoustic matching of the device to the ear, if we can make that first fit the best fit right out of the box, before, for those who use REM, if they want to do that, they can. If they don't, you're getting really close to personalized, optimized acoustic matching.
And then you, of course, have to have conversations with your patient, understand their unique environment, where you start by being first more accurate than ever before.
And then you said you got one more thing.
Yes. Well, Brandon says quality is our reputation. How about the robustness of these products? Well, Edge AI devices are already waterproof. And can you make it even more robust? Well, with Omega AI, it's 10 times more resilient as far as waterproofing goes compared to Edge AI. In fact,
10 times.
10 times more. How do we have done that? We use the technology to provide coating of the electronic circuitry and the processors inside, the same technology that pacemakers use, which go into your body. So it's going to be the most robust and reliable hearing aids that your patients have ever experienced.
We've removed range anxiety for those who choose rechargeable batteries or even replaceable batteries. In the very small form factors, we're getting incredible battery life with all of these DNN features. Now we're on the verge of taking that anxiety away of a patient who worries about wearing their devices while they're exercising.
Or going in the shower.
While they're going in the shower, while they're going out in the rain, because people want to be able to experience all of those moments in life, and some of them include precipitation. We've removed range anxiety for batteries. We're close to removing that anxiety over perspiration, precipitation, etc. So the best technology in the world, unless they can wear it all day or wear it in the environments that are important to them, doesn't matter.
To sum it up, we are, of course, extremely proud to bring Omega AI to the world. which we have been working on for some time. And it's groundbreaking in terms of helping people hear better than ever before with DNN 360, improve their health, and connect with the most powerful artificial intelligence for personal assistance.
I think we'll leave it there. So we've covered a lot of ground in the last half hour, and thank you, Dr. Achin Bhowmik. There's no one better to come and talk about this with the excitement that we have and with the vision and really the dedication and a deliberate path that we've been on for 7 or 8 years now, or longer actually, but to bring and deliver the best features in those 3 areas to those patients with hearing loss who are now appreciating better sound, better connection to health and wellness, better communication with their devices than ever before. If you like this, share with your friends. Think of other ideas for discussions that we'll have in the future on this, but I know we're going to have you back really soon to talk more. So thank you
Dave.
very much.
Always a pleasure.